one team. Over the last 15 games, there has been one team with a better record than the Golden State Warriors, the LA Clippers. I guess maybe the Unks aren't done yet. And whilst I'm not about to tell you the Warriors have suddenly turned into the second best team in the NBA, I will say, for the first time all year, when you look at the Western Conference standings, it doesn't seem crazy to think they could finish with a top 5 seed. And we all know if you get Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry in the playoffs, anything can happen. Just like we saw last year with them beating the second seed in the first round. And this is because for the first time all season, the Warriors are getting consistent play from guys not named Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, including one guy in particular. Someone who the Warriors didn't have for the first 25 games of the season, and we are seeing why that was such a big deal. Because Deanthony Melton, well, everyone, let's just praise this man right now. Because if you want to see a bargain, if you want to see one of the best contracts in the NBA, look no further than him making $3 million this year and playing like the third most important Warrior on certain nights. In fact, not just certain nights, because over those last 15 games, Melton has been the Warriors' third leading scorer. And it now feels like every other night he's putting up 20 points in 20 minutes off the bench, just like the recent win over Charlotte, where he did absolutely everything. Like here where he rolls it up. Buddy comes to set the screen, and once Melton gets the switch onto Bridges, watch him size him up with that right to left crossover before getting into the paint and finishing. And this is the difference. Not only can Melton shoot, but he can also put the ball on the floor and attack closeouts, like here where he gets the pass from Gee, and with 5 seconds left, doesn't panic and throw up a heave, but instead he calmly sets Kispert up, driving at him before the soft touch on the floater. And you are just so much more dangerous as a team when you have multiple guys that can do this. When the defense collapses on you, and then you can put the ball on the floor, you can make a play for yourself, make a play for your teammates. He's not just an extra scorer or shooter, but also an extra ball handler. It's the same reason you are seeing a guy like Brandon Pajemski also have the best stretch of this season during this period of time. Because all of a sudden, he isn't tasked with doing all of that creation off the bench, and in general, there's just a knock-on effect. When all of a sudden you have another guy off the bench who can give you 20 points, who can score from all 3 levels, and playmake and handle the ball, it then means Pods has to do less, it means Will Richard has to do less, and it means the entire bench just looks completely different because of that one guy fitting in. And I know I keep mentioning how the Warriors might have figured things out. Well, it's not just me who thinks this. Jimmy Butler said the same thing after the win over the Knicks.
But I really think we're turning this thing around. Like, we're figuring things out. I would like to say I wish we played with a little bit more urgency early on, but it's never too late to do that. So.
And Jimmy's the perfect guy to say this, because we know one thing about Jimmy Butler, he will tell it how it is.
How would you assess just where y'all are at the halfway point of the season?
Mediocre. We need to win more games, lose less games.
Well, clearly something has shifted, and one of the reasons things have shifted isn't just because of the depth, it's because Jimmy himself has turned into the All-NBA playoff Jimmy that we have seen in the past. Just the extra aggression we're seeing on both ends. It's not like he was playing like a scrub beforehand, but all of a sudden those 50-50 balls on defense, the timing, the anticipation, the energy on both ends of the floor, it's just gone up a notch. Just like here where he gets the ball at the 3-point line, and watch him attack OG of all people, going straight at him, and even with Macau waiting at the rim, that's a tough finish. Or this time later in the game with the Warriors looking to close out the Knicks, and this time with him isolated against Cat, this is the Jimmy you love to see, where he just immediately attacks that mismatch, going straight at him before the turn and fade. And honestly, I say Jimmy has been extra aggressive recently, but all year Jimmy Butler has done what this team could have asked for. Because when they traded for Jimmy Butler, the main thing that he was brought in to do was to bridge the gap in the non-Steph Curry minutes. Can this team look like an NBA team when Steph Curry is off the floor? Now, when Steph Curry is off the floor and Jimmy Butler is off the floor, this team looks like the Santa Cruz Warriors, but when you put Jimmy Butler out there, this team has actually been elite, even with Steph Curry off the floor, having nearly a +9 net rating, being solid offensively and elite defensively when you pair the likes of Jimmy with Draymond and GP2, and that's all you could have hoped for. This is why you're paying him. You're paying him to be the second option next to Steph Curry when he's on the floor, and be the first option when Steph isn't on the floor. And over these last couple of weeks, over this stretch of games in which they've been one of the best teams in the NBA, we're seeing an even better version of Jimmy Butler than what we saw earlier in the year. And this is why even when the Dubs were at their absolute worst just a few weeks ago, when they weren't just mediocre, like Jimmy said, they were worse than mediocre, you always feel a team with these two guys at the top can flip a switch. And for the Warriors, it was never about those two guys at the top flipping a switch, it was about everyone else doing that, which is a lot easier to do when you have Steph Curry, because just take it from Draymond. No one in NBA history has ever been guarded the way Steph Curry has.
Yeah, they're kind of just leaving us open, playing all 5 guys to take Steph out the game. So if you drove, kick, everybody was shooting open threes and make them pay for playing gimmicky defense.
Because we saw it against Charlotte, the Hornets' game plan with no Jimmy in the lineup was simple. Don't let Steph Curry touch the ball. Don't let Steph Curry shoot the ball. Don't let Steph Curry near the ball. And that's how you end up giving 135 points when you give NBA players that much time and space, focusing solely on one player and one player only. Even at 37 years old, a game plan centered around not just stopping Steph Curry, pretty much stopping him from even touching the ball. That just makes everyone's job that much easier. And just getting back to the depth, it's not just been Melton and Pods, but that entire bench has been on fire, including one of the oldest men in the league. Because whilst the numbers don't look exceptional by any means, for all of us who have been watching the games, we know the impact he's had is beyond that. It's the impact of making plays like this, where Brandon Miller gets the switch on him, and even with a 20-year age gap, that old man is one of the best defenders ever. And watch him move his feet to stay with Miller before blocking him at the rim. And we've now seen him have a block or more in 7 of the last 8 games, to go along with shooting over 40% from 3 over this 15-game stretch. He might only be averaging 5 points and shooting 39% from the field, but his combination of defense and floor spacing is exactly why the Warriors signed him, and you are now starting to see the impact that can have when he gets consistent minutes. Now, if you made it all the way to the end of the video and want to see more content like this, consider subscribing. Dropping a like would be cool. Have a great day.